Do you ever go to the driving range or golf simulator and feel like your game actually got worse? Are you tired of wasting your money, time, and energy but not seeing the results on the golf course? I've been there myself, and I want to help you avoid these common driving range mistakes so that way you're not wasting your time or money and actually getting better. Because I know if you're watching this video, you're a committed golfer who maybe wants to break 90, break 80, or even become a scratch golfer. When you avoid these mistakes, you're going to get better in practice and it's going to show up on the golf course. Each of these mistakes is equally important, but I would argue number 5 and the final one, number 11, are the ones that are truly holding you back from practicing and playing your best golf. The first driving range mistake I see way too often is going straight to driver. Here's the thing, we need to work our way up to hitting driver. I cannot tell you how many times I go to the range and watch guys literally just pull this club right out of the bag. No stretching, no speed training, no warm up, nothing. Straight to driver. That is a recipe for disaster. You gotta work your way up to the longest, potentially hardest club to hit in the bag. Start with your wedges, then go to your irons, fairway woods, then your driver. Otherwise, you're risking injury and probably not going to hit this very good, which can crush your confidence. So please avoid hitting driver until you're warmed up so you can avoid those injuries and start getting some confidence with the shorter clubs in the bag. The second driving range mistake I see far too often, and one that I know I made a lot in my playing career, is just not having a plan. Anytime you go out there, you just set your bag down, have a bucket of balls, and just kind of hope for the best, you're really setting yourself up for failure. As they always say, when you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And range balls are not cheap anymore. I mean, they're like $20 a basket now. So I want you guys to obviously, when you're spending that money, making sure that you're actually getting your money's worth. So always have a plan before every single practice session. Whether it's going to the chipping green, putting green, driving range, simulator, always have a plan. What I like to do is make sure I'm really clear about how much time I have, what I'm gonna be working on, and any drills ahead of time. So that way when I go, I know, hey, I have 60 minutes, I'm gonna be working on wedges and irons today, and I can be super clear. Other times I might say, hey, I got 90 minutes today, I'm gonna do 30 minutes to the short game area, 30 minutes with wedges, and 30 minutes with full swing. There's tons of videos on YouTube, there's different practice plans, which I'll link to down in the description. But just get clear about what you're trying to do with each practice session so that way you're not wasting time and money just kind of randomly hitting golf balls. Third driving range mistake that a lot of golfers make, and again, I've been there as well, is just rapid fire hitting golf balls. It's not a race to see who can go through a basket of balls the fastest. Again, we want to make sure we have a plan for our practice session, but really a plan for every shot. We want to be intentional. We don't want to develop bad habits, and we don't want to just be out there randomly hitting golf balls without really thinking. And this is going to tie in with the 11th mistake too, but I find that when you hit a bad shot, a lot of golfers will just try and rapidly fire another one because they want to get that out of their memory, or they're worried that somebody saw it on the range. But you want to make sure you have intention for your shot. How far do you want to hit this? Where is your target? Do you have any alignment aids? Are you recording your swing? Like, have some intention behind your shot so that way, again, you're not wasting time and money and you're actually getting better. The fourth driving range mistake is not using the cheapest and best training aid in golf. That is alignment aids. I feel like a Spartan here, but you need to make sure that we're using alignment aids most of the time. I don't think you have to use them every single shot because obviously you're not going to be using them on the golf course. So I'm not saying you have to use them for 100% of your shots, but for a lot of newer golfers too, alignment is key. Even really skilled golfers. I mean, you'll even see the pros are constantly using alignment aids. They're checking their aim. So use these a lot more often. You can carry extra ones in your bag. They're super cheap, and that way, again, you're not developing bad habits. As you can see in this video, a lot of times I aim right and don't even realize it when I don't use an alignment aid. So that's why I am consistently recording my swing and using alignment aids to make sure I'm not developing any bad habits. The fifth driving range mistake is just not having any fun. If you go and practice and it feels like a chore, it feels more like a job, chances are not only are you not going to improve, you're not going to be motivated to go back. And you and I both know if you want to hit your golf goals, you have to put in the work. You have to practice consistently, whether it's your short game, whether it's putting, full swing, whatever you're working on, you have to do the work. However, if you're never having any fun, it's not going to be likely that you keep showing up. So make sure to have some fun. Hit some shots that are exciting. Maybe it's speed training, trying to see how long you can hit drivers on some days. Maybe it's trying to hit different iron shots and play the 9-shot drill that Tiger made famous. Maybe it is doing some really hard short game shots and high flops and different shots from the bunker where they're buried, and just getting yourself into some fun situations. So that way, one, you're having fun, but two, if you do find yourself on the golf course and you need to hit a big hook or your ball plugs in the bunker, you actually know what to do. So have a little bit more fun, and chances are you're gonna be more motivated to stick with it. The sixth driving range mistake I see a lot, and we see some viral videos on this, is giving unsolicited advice. Now, I'm obviously in a private simulator here, so I don't have to worry about that, but I see this a lot too, and it's a lot of times usually golfers that are like shooting in the 80s or 90s, somehow giving advice to other people. So usually the people that are giving the advice aren't the ones that even should be in the first place. But at the end of the day, don't give unsolicited advice. If you are a good player and someone does come up to you and ask you, sure, you can offer some tips, help them out, but don't go out of your way to start giving unsolicited advice. The seventh driving range mistake is just hitting aimlessly. So as we talked about earlier, we want to make sure that we have alignment sticks, but you also want to have clarity for the shot. Because as you know, on the course, you have a clear objective. You're gonna try and hit the fairway. You're gonna try and hit it 280. You're gonna try and hit a wedge 110 yards. You're gonna try to hit your pitch at this spot so that way it releases to the hole. You're gonna try and get your putt started on that line. We have clear objectives on the course. However, a lot of us don't practice that way, and we're just mindlessly hitting golf balls. We have no targets, we have no objective, and it makes it really, really hard to actually make sure your practice is gonna translate to the golf course. So make sure to slow down, again, stop rapid fire hitting those golf balls and get clear. Talk out your shots. Imagine the shot you wanna hit. Create an imaginary fairway. Use a launch monitor, that way you can actually measure how far every shot goes. Be more intentional, have more of a purpose, so that way, again, you're not just randomly hitting golf balls like most golfers. The eighth driving range mistake that a lot of golfers make is abandoning swing changes. If you're trying to change your swing, maybe it's a grip, maybe it's a different takeaway, something to do on the downswing, it's gonna take some time. It's gonna be frustrating at times. It's not gonna happen instantly, but you have to stick with it. That's why you're probably working with a coach in person or online, and you have to make sure that you actually stick with it. After a few shots, I see golfers trying to make some changes. It's not going well. The ball is all over the place. They're feeling uncomfortable. They're worried about other people judging them, and then they abandon those swing changes. So make sure when you are trying to make a swing change that you have the patience and discipline to stick with it. If you can find an individual simulator like this or build one at home, that can definitely help as well, because when you're hitting into a net or even a screen where you can turn off some of the graphics, you're just focused on the swing change and not so much worried about the result. So one of the things I talk about inside Wicked Smart Golf Academy is I tell my students to make sure when you are making swing changes to do them into a net if possible. That way you're not worried about the results. You're simply trying to make the move, that grip change, that takeaway, whatever it is, and that way you can just focus on the feel and not worry about the result. The ninth driving range mistake that a lot of golfers make is never recording your swing. If you never record your swing, it's gonna be really tough to ever truly know your swing, and it's also gonna be hard to ever get yourself out of a slump. So I use the iRange Sport Stick. It actually has a stake that goes right in the ground and it has a magnetic here, and it's easy to record all your shots, whether you're hitting from the bunker, whether you're at the driving range. They even have stands for indoor setups as well, but I can't recommend recording your swing enough. Because when you record your swing, one, you're documenting your journey. Trust me, you can never record your swing enough. I love looking at videos of myself in 2016, 2018, 2020. I even had videos all the way back to when I was a kid, like this one. How cool is that? This is some old footage of me just when I was getting started like 20 plus years ago, and it's so cool to, one, document your journey and see how far you've come. But two, it will help you learn how to swing your swing. Nobody has the same swing. We all have our own unique tendencies, and when you record your swing, you're gonna start to learn more about it. You're gonna figure out, hey, you know, sometimes I get inside, sometimes my aim is too far right. Whatever your misses are, you start to realize it. You can record your swing, understand, wow, I didn't even realize that. It felt like I was aimed perfect, even though you might be aimed right. Then you can make a quick adjustment, and it really helps self-assess your own game. Not to mention, it makes it really easy to spot alignment issues even when you're putting. I find that a lot of golfers don't record their short game shots, especially putting enough, when in reality, a lot of issues can be solved by simply recording it, checking your alignment, checking your fundamentals like ball position, grip, things like that, and you can a lot of times resolve your own issues without having to find a coach. The 10th driving range mistake happens all the time, and that is neglecting your pre-shot routine. I talk about routines a lot on the channel because they're one of the things that you can control that can have a direct impact on your game. So you want to have a good routine when you're on the course, but you got to make sure to practice it. Otherwise, how are you going to have a consistent set of rituals? So I will have days where I take a small bucket, I don't try and hit a bunch of golf balls, and I just make sure and be super intentional. And I go through my pre-shot routine on every single shot, from behind the golf ball where I'm taking my practice swings, walking into the shot, looking at the target a couple times, and going. It's obviously how we play on the golf course, and it's gonna also help slow you down, which I talked about earlier. If you're rapid fire hitting golf balls, it's easy to develop bad habits and not actually achieve your goals. So practice your pre-shot routine at the driving range, at the short game area, and on the putting green. So that way when you get to the course, you have a lot more comfort, you have a lot more confidence in your game because you know, hey, I practice my timing, I understand exactly what my pre-shot process is. That way you can walk into more shots with confidence. And when you have a consistent routine, make sure to not forget about the timing. You wanna spend 8 seconds or less over the golf ball. When you do, it'll have a massive impact on your ability to hit more fairways, hit more greens, and make more putts. If you need more info, make sure to check out the book, Golf's 8-Second Secret. Now, the final driving range mistake that every golfer has made, and I want you to please stop doing, is to stop worrying about others. So many golfers, especially new players who are just kind of figuring it out, are worried about what everybody is thinking about them. But if you're consistently worried about the opinion of others, you're probably not going to do the things that you need to do to actually improve. At the end of the day, anyone who plays golf knows that it is a very, very hard game. There's a steep learning curve with it. There's some ups, there's some downs. It's not easy. So trust me, nobody is judging you. And if they are, bad karma to them from the golf gods, and it's not helping them either. Again, I have played at the highest levels, and I've also shot in the 120s in high school. So I know everything in between. I know how hard it is to make swing changes. I know how difficult it can be, but to play your best, you have to practice consistently. You have to avoid these 11 driving range mistakes, and you have to make sure that you're just not worried about the opinion of others. When you do, you're gonna free up, you're gonna be able to practice and play like you can, and you're probably gonna have a lot more fun. Hopefully you can avoid these driving range mistakes so you can practice with purpose and hit your golf goals. If you're ready to play more consistent golf, make sure to watch these videos next.